last one. And we hit 2 weeks ago. And I went from like, we get 40 people to sign up every day. And then I get an alert on my phone that's like, one person has signed up today. And that has been hard. I think I'm always, it's hard in these times to be like, my life is not hard. You know, it's much harder to be like sick right now, or to be a healthcare worker, or to be somebody who has, 5,000 employees that they're having to let go. So it's hard to feel bad about that, but in the same, I don't know, I'm grateful right now that I don't have a ton of employees, and that I do have a very low expense business. Everything that we pay for is largely variable. That's my cat that you'll hear chiming in, sorry. So it's nice to be able to we're not paying as much right now, given the fact that we're not doing as much work, but it's, it's not how I had pictured spring, which is typically a busier time for us.
Right. And can you explain a little bit how do you actually get paid? Are you paid by people signing up? Are you paid by, how does that work for you?
Yeah, so
by going from like, a lot of people signing up in a day to one, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. So our business, you can sign up sign up for an account until you publish an event or you sell a ticket, you're not paying us. So about 30% of the people that sign up actually end up paying us. We have monthly subscribers who, thankfully, like a majority of those have not canceled yet. I think people are still holding out that this summer they'll be able to host some type of event. So that's basically how it works. You publish an event, you pay us $39, or you're selling tickets, and we take transaction fees. It's, for me, it's a small business. I do luckily also do some consulting, and I've been pretty lucky to, I'm doing some work for a plastics company right now, and they're blowing up as long as they can keep their facilities open and they can keep making things. So personally, I've been able to, shift things around and still make some money, but things are just really on pause for Blackbird right now until we can figure out we are implementing some online event functionality so people can send out an invitation for their Zoom call. We just intentionally never went down that road because, before this, like, who wanted to go to an online event? It wasn't like a big fun thing.
Right.
So we're making some shifts, but it's largely on pause. We had to stop. We were like doing all this new development that we've had to just put on pause.
Right. Right. And as far as marketing, what is your normal way that you market your business?
Yeah. So we do a lot of digital advertising around keywords. So I turned all of those off about a week and a half ago. So at least I'm not putting money into that. Look, the rest of it is referral. People see an event and then they host an event. So we've just paused everything. It's basically right now, like, let's just keep it as a bank account if we can, and not try to like move anything until people are having events again, which, knock on wood, happens at some point.
Yep. Brian and Kristine, why don't you tell us what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, so we're a food company. We do pasta that's made from beans, and we've kind of seen this impacting our business since January, because we import our products from China because they're the main producers of soy. And when they were hit with this, that's when our supply chain started seeing some issues because we couldn't get any product. And at that time, we were scaling our distribution very fast. We got into a couple of regions of Costco, and then we were trying to leverage that opportunity to grow into those different states and different regions. But we were impacted because the factories were, the whole supply chain was screwed up over there starting in January. So we were running out of stock, and then people started panic purchasing over here a couple weeks ago. So it's a kind of decreasing supply, increasing demand for us. We're fortunate because we have very low fixed cost. Our co-manufacturers over there, our warehouse is a shared space that we rent. So we don't have any employees, so we're fortunate. It's just us two, and we don't pay ourselves. So we were kind of discussing the other day that, you know, we're kind of lucky that we have no income because it didn't change. But those are kind of the issues we're going through now.
Yeah. But even now that the kind of, it's kind of shifted, right? So now it's kind of the outbreaks in the US, but we still have low inventory, because even though many of the manufacturers are back working in China, we're seeing a lot of issues with their supply chain. So now they're open, but they're saying, oh, you know, we can make them, but we don't have beans. Or, oh, we have beans now, but our box manufacturer doesn't have paper. So they have their own supply chain problems. So it's been like a trickling effect.
Right. And they can't really give you answers right at this moment, right?
They just got everything together. So we're air shipping 8 pallets over, which kind of, I think it increases our cost by like five times. But we're definitely going to lose money from all of this, but we just want to make sure that our grocery stores and our customers can get what they want. So that we're doing that. And then we have a couple of containers that they're actually getting ready for us right now. But while we're doing this whole process of air shipping the pallets here, we started thinking about what else we could airship over here in terms of like medical supplies that could possibly help. So we've been just brainstorming and trying to figure out how we can help with everything that's going on at the same time. Yeah.
Wow. Can you talk a little bit too? I know you and I, we talked yesterday, and so you obviously, we just talked a little bit about the supply chain, but talk about, you do a lot of online, you sell online. So how is that impacting your online sales? Understandably, you know, your stores, you want to keep the shelves full, but what about online?
So for online, it's been kind of crazy. I think starting last week, everybody panicked, and we saw people ordering 20 cases of pasta. And normally people order, one case is 6 boxes. So normally people order 1 box or 4 boxes. And when we see these orders coming for 20 cases, we can tell that, you know, people are starting to really panic. And also a lot of other online sellers were all running out of stock. So, I mean, it was a good thing to see all the orders come in, but we also knew that, you know, things are getting bad. It's kind of a sign that people are starting to panic and people are starting to run out of stock. How long can we, you know, stay in stock? And so we shifted to kind of, most of our day was just spent printing shipping labels and packing boxes and trying to make sure they get out on time.
Also trying to figure out, because our warehouse is in Grand Rapids and we're currently in Chicago area, and then trying to figure out how much stock do we really have, like how do we make sure our stores are full and make sure that our customers are able to purchase online. Because before, we do not only Amazon, we do have other platforms that we're on. Like sometimes we sell on our own website, we sell on Walmart.com or like some of the other, like, or eBay, but it's just like things are coming in kind of from, it's just like whatever people could get from any website. And so it's kind of chaotic in trying to manage. And also the other thing is, since everyone's running out of stock, that listing for us is very important. For online business, we work, you know, all year long to try to boost the listing and try to be at a, you know, really great ranking. So when you're out of stock, that really it hurts your ranking a lot, and we spend a lot of money all year trying to, you know, advertise and get up there.
Yeah. So we turned off all of our ads, and then it was kind of crazy because we were marking some products out of stock so that we can make sure our grocery stores have it. But then those customers would immediately shift to a different platform. So it's like it's out of stock on Amazon. So then you get like 20 orders immediately from Walmart. You mark that out of stock, and then you start getting stuff rolling from eBay, which we usually don't sell that much pasta on eBay, but it's just there. And then you mark that out of stock, and then people start ordering on your website. So it's just like they're jumping around platforms. So, but we're finally caught up to where we put the correct amount of quantities that we have there, and then we filled up most of our grocery stores.
And I see someone asked, do you fulfill orders yourself then, or have someone fulfilling them? We don't typically fulfill orders ourselves. We do Amazon FDA, so we ship a large amount to the Amazon warehouse. But as you guys know, the Amazon warehouse has been really backed up right now. They even sent out an email that even Prime, you could get it, you might get it before April 20th. So we shifted from sending inventory to Amazon. We also don't have that much stock to send it to them. But also the inventory that we do send to them, it takes like longer than 2 weeks for them to even check it in because they just don't have enough workers. So right now we shifted to fulfill everything ourselves just so we can get these to the customers.
Right. Wow.
We shipped them product maybe 3 weeks ago, and it's still showing that it's reserved, which means that it got to the warehouse, but they haven't scanned it in. So they're pretty far behind. And they did announce that their FBA warehouses are no longer accepting non-essential items. And I checked, and I guess they consider us essential, so they allow us to ship it to them. But I know that they're super busy, and I also know that if I ship it to them, it might just have all of our stock stuck in reserve status where we can actually ship it out to the customer ourselves. And it only takes 2 to 3 days. So.
Right. Wow. Let's go over to Jermale and have him give a little bit of let Jermale talk, and then I've got some questions just in general for everybody too. So we'll kind of keep working through this. Jermale?
First off, I'm looking and saying like, man, how is it that the gray in my beard is growing faster than the gray? Like my eyebrows, I don't even know, it's crazy.
And I just am seeing your backdrop. I just flipped over so I could see your picture. That's awesome.
Limbo.
That's in the store, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
I love that.
I'm live on location. Now with my juice bar. Yeah, I'm here. I'm in debt, and so I might as well broadcast from here.
Oh, wow.
We might end up moving in.
Live workspace.
This coronavirus definitely has given us the 1-2 punch. However, I'm always trying to be innovative in what we do. And people might say, what do you do? And I can explain it very in simple terms is we seek to plant seeds of love throughout the community. And we're doing that by our juice bar. We've been doing that for over 6 years. So again, been in business for 6 years, juices and smoothies, moved from the downtown market. I don't even know what day it is basically, but a few months ago to expand our business, to offer some food products, to be down. I'm looking outside right now to be down here where it's going to be happening when the snow moves and leaves, where people are going to be out on this lawn and whatnot. And right now there's a leaf that's blowing back and forth out here. But we still think about how do we love on the community here with our product. And so last Monday we had to extend not so loving information to 3 staff that we had to let go on last Monday, and decide to keep a few people. One of the people that we kept was someone that we just hired prior to this who would not be eligible for unemployment. So it's like, man, how do we treat her well? If we let her go, she won't get unemployment. If she stays with us, she may not get many hours, but for her, it's best to stick with us. And so we're trying to trying to figure that out. And therefore we did a flip of our business. So right now the name of the game is how do you become a hybrid? How do you transform things? And so we had to, of course, shut our dining room down. And part of moving here was that the fact that the juices and smoothies, they will sustain us. We'll be okay. But the money was going to come from our food items that we have on the menu currently and that we will be developing. And that's not happening anymore. And, you know, so we have our debt from our build out. Studio Park is closed. The theater is dark. The restaurant's barely open. Leo's is kind of open. Funky Buddha is closed. Nobody's driving up and down the streets besides police officers, some dude on a skateboard, and you know, a few cars and trucks here. And so we're in a tight situation here. And so what we did was figure out how do we still get juices and smoothies juices to the community and whatnot, and ask people to support us. And so, you know, we still can get fresh produce. People are only buying sanitizer and toilet paper, so we can get some apples in here. But we went to only bottles. So we're only shipping out bottles. We're only doing that. And I'm delivering personally with my Honda Pilot, going door to door within a few locations, zip codes, and then we're utilizing FedEx. You know, putting the wear and tear on my vehicle, spending my gas, you know, using my money to do that. But only thing that I'm doing is providing, bringing in enough money to pay for my current staff and pay for the raw goods. So we had a lot of orders going in and out. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting us. It might look like we killing the game, but that's what social media is. Everybody who's on social media, they may not be doing as well as they say they are. They need you to think that so that you can continue to support them. And we have a lot of orders going out, but it's just we're just kind of floating. We're doggy paddling and we're getting tired doing this, but I don't know how to give up. I don't know how to quit. I see everything as a challenge or a barrier to get over. But what I do know is a couple of things. One, our sales for a week. So not necessarily a calendar week, but for the past 7 days compared to the previous 7 days, is up about 70%. So it's like, whoa, that's great, right? But when we moved to Studio Park, moved in the winter, our sales were down. We only had about 40% of the sales we had to downtown market. So then to be up 75% from that is not really saying much. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, again, for us, we're just thinking about how do we change this thing? How do we keep going? How do we stay positive? How do we benefit the community? And one way we've done that is, you can't see it from here, but on the other side of our space, we took our wholesale pricing discounts and purchased bulk for a few in-home daycare providers who aren't getting help from any government, any nonprofit, or nothing like that. We bought that, and then Anissa came in, her and a friend, a colleague came in, and they broke that stuff down and then delivered it 2 nights ago to all these, like 12 different providers. And some stuff they didn't have, but they were like, anything that we can get is beneficial. I mean, I'm talking about, we're delivering tuna, toilet paper, paper towels, hand sanitizer that's in a bag. So I don't know how they're going to get it. I have to poke a hole in it and get it out or whatever. Bottom line is right now is that everybody has to come together and do something for someone else. Yeah. You know, so if I prefer, kind of like being in a relationship, if I'm preferring the other person and they're preferring me, then we're going to meet each other's needs. And that's what has to happen within communities. We got to begin to prefer and to defer to other individuals to help out. And at some point in time, it's going to come back to you on how we can help each other out. And I mean, that's what we're doing. I have no answers on what's going to happen. Again, I don't know, everybody on the call, I may have the largest investment currently just kind of hanging over my head here, including a notice on I better pay my electric and stuff before they turn it off. But anyway, we're just here, you know, doggy paddling and floating. And then the other piece is the fact that many minority-owned businesses are not going to make it. In general, within the community, when there was a quote at one point, when the country catches a cold, the Black community catches pneumonia, and that's what we're seeing around here. So we'll see how everything goes, but we're just here with the unknown, and I'm always thinking creatively to the wee hours of the night and how we're going to get through the next day and the next week.
Wow. Unbelievable. And like amazingly inspiring. I wish I could order juice and have you deliver it up here to Newaygo.
You can. FedEx will get to you.
All right, then I will do that. I will definitely do that. I forgot you were doing FedEx. I thought you were just doing it yourself, but
we're getting it out. We're doing whatever we can. I mean, if I could employ a couple carrier pigeons, I would.
Murphy, do we have, I think I saw a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we do have one question for everybody. Let me go back and find it. It says, are your companies bootstrapped or VC funded, and are you worried about runway and burn rate? So
Yeah, yeah, we are not VC funded, or I'm not VC funded. I'm doing everything possible to keep our burn rate low, which it already is low. We're used to operating with very not a lot of spend, just because if it's going to come from anywhere, it's going to come from me, and that would not be great. My husband does have a business that's VC backed right now, and it's just that's not a great position to be in right now either, because that's the whole point, right? You get investment and you spend a ton of it, and knowing that you're going to get it back based on these projections. And now you sort of know that's not going to happen. And a lot of these are based on just perpetual funding. So like those people invested and they made a plan knowing that in 6 months they're going to be able to raise more money. And so that sucks. I've heard that a lot of the government programs might not apply to those businesses because they have so many shareholders. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But for me personally, no, I'm just trying to not spend anything if I can avoid it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for us, we're not VC funded either. So far, it's been just us, and also we have a lot of loans. We have 2 different types of loans that we've taken from the bank. So that's we haven't paid back the loans because we needed that for the inventory. So we're just trying to keep.
Have people, those banks or whatever, come out and offered any, like, hey, don't make a payment for 60 days or anything?
Yeah, so we bank with Huntington, and they did send out an email yesterday that said that you could pause the payments on those loans, but the interest will still accrue. Yeah. So they did have that option for us if needed. Yeah.
We're not, we are VC funded, called Vision Capital. We did all this from a vision. There has been no venture, just vision. And nope, not bootstrapped either. It's been a community effort. We do have loans. We, have people who have given and donated money here and there, but we're just, we're out here kind of just dangling in the wind. Again, just like others have said, we've made the investment, and so have banks made the investment in us with the thought that when we move to Studio Park, the cash will be coming in, lines will be out the door. It's going to be hopping down here. And now we find ourselves in this situation, and we have personal assets wrapped up in this. And so this ain't just, we don't have any play money. This isn't grandpa's inheritance, uncle's inheritance, money that someone had underneath the bed. This is life and death for us with our business, as it has always been. But at the same time, we know that we've only been around for this time because of the customers.
Right. What about the banks? I mean, have you talked to, are you getting any kind of reprieve on any of your loans?
Yeah, well, I spoke to our banker, Consumer Credit Union. They're fantastic, above and beyond. And this was, I think, on Tuesday we talked, and just the conversation was, what do I want to do? Do I want to, defer the loan and still have interest? And I'm like, hey, if I defer it and the interest is still going, I understand that from the aspect of a student loan, meaning at the end, you're going to owe more than you borrowed. I don't want to do that. Then it's like, hey, you know, you can apply for these, the small business little package and get some money at a 3.5% interest rate that you pay back over 30 years. Yep, I understand that as well. And then that automatically defers my original SBA loan, but still the interest is accumulating. And at some point in time, you got to pay everybody back, even if it's a low rate. So it feels like they want you to pay a credit card off with another credit card, with another credit card, with another credit card, accumulating interest. And then what are you going to do? When this is all said and done, we're going to have to pay the stuff that we owe. We're going to have to pay the current stuff, and then we're going to have to try to get ahead. And that just isn't going to happen. We can't afford to do that. And so I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to go about it. Loans, I don't think is the answer. And supposedly if you keep people working with those new loans, then you may have that loan forgiven. And the word is may. Similar to those who worked, who went to school for certain jobs, careers, thinking that when they get out, they can get their loans forgiven by, you know, teaching inner city or whatever that may be. And very few of those loans have actually been forgiven. So I don't want the may BS. I want to know, is it is or is it ain't?
Yeah, I think there's so much uncertain. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty around a lot of things, but it's like, make a plan, tell people what will and will not get paid back, or what needs to be paid back or not. But yeah, I just saw Paul's comment. All these bailout plans are just additional loans. And that is what it seems like, which is surprising given the fact that when you go back into business, you're now having to pay for your existing bills. It's not like you now need double the cash to pay for next month, you know, like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Murphy, are there any more questions? Because okay.
Nope, none at the moment. If you want to take questions, if people want to keep sending in their questions, though, we can get to them maybe after you do a few.
Okay, yeah. So this might seem like I don't know. I'm just going to say this because, you know, Start Garden, our whole mission is to encourage and support entrepreneurs. And right now, how does somebody look at our current situation and say, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be out there on my own, taking a risk. It's going to be great for me. It's going to be great for my family. It's just unbelievable. It's, you know, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you, how can you be hopeful? How do you emotionally and, you know, and with your business, what are you thinking?
I would say to someone, first I was going to say, don't do it. But then I would say to someone, now is a good time to get ready. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you have some plans, just get ready. Continue getting ready. Look to see what other learnings that you might be able to do. Are you able to enroll in something online virtually to continue to get ready? Are you able to actually iron the wrinkles out the plan as much as you can? Because a lot of entrepreneurship is kind of on the go all the time, learning on the go. But just continue getting ready and don't jump in just yet unless you have a product that is in demand right now today. It's also a good time to test prototypes. So I don't know, if you're a chef or something, or you want to cook, maybe it's a good time to start offering folk in your community, in your neighborhood, a meal. Maybe there's some folk who don't have food, or who don't cook, or older people, whatever that may be. It's like, man, I can make this lasagna that all you got to do is freeze and go. If you do that, please season your food. Don't nobody want any bland church meals. I mean, anyway, but this is a good time to just make sure things are good, and then continue to learn and whatnot. We will come out of this. We don't know when, but when we do, you just got to be ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think also this is the time to be being an entrepreneur is often about like creative problem solving. How can I make a creative, unique solution that someone is willing to pay for? And the willing to pay for part is not a guarantee right now. But there's so much opportunity to help your community. Like even it might not be in your business, but I think if you're sharpening that sword, like there's all these people doing these community walks where you like put a teddy bear in your window and
Saw that.
people can go see what's I think it's a good practice, and there's so much opportunity to help. I mean, that's part of what, while I am on pause, I am helping this plastics company figure out how to shift everything and make masks for people. So I think, it might not be time to work on your exact thing. I think it's, maybe it is, but also if it's not, there's so much opportunity to help and chip in and figure out how you can help your community.
Right. It's funny, I've talked to a couple of entrepreneurs who actually right now, because of the nature of their business, they're actually like blowing up. They're doing well and they feel guilty. It's like, people are suffering. And, for me as an entrepreneur, this has turned out to be, something good for my business. It's growing my business. And so.
Well, look at Amazon. I mean, this is like, it's like this dichotomy, right? Like we all for years have been like small businesses dying, Amazon's taking market share. And then they had their like single biggest, like huge, like doubled it. I don't know what the stats are, but they grew like crazy. And all these individual stores basically have died in a sense. And I think, I just wonder, and I keep waiting to see like, what is, not to like put it on Jeff Bezos, but like, what is he going to do right now? Because he is killing it. And I'm sure they're under stress and whatever, but like, this is just not, like, they need to do something for the millions of businesses that help them in business, frankly.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right.
Interested to hear, Brian and Kristine, because you sell through Amazon, like, are they communicating anything like that with the seller? Like what's going on?
Nothing. It seems like they're more putting out fires that they have internally. So they're like putting a lot of things on pause, extending, or for example, I saw that they're hiring 100,000 people. Their warehouses are going crazy. So I think they're communicating with sellers, basically try to bother us less so that we can catch up. But they're not really communicating like how they're going to move forward after that with helping other people. Yeah.
So they haven't sent out any communication to you, to businesses that sell, or they have, but just not very.
All the
very
communication
specific.
is kind of like, we put this on hold, we removed this function, we're no longer doing this, and just kind of informing us, not really saying what they're going to do to take action to help with the whole situation.
Yeah. Interesting. So is it, are you, obviously everybody's sort of in survival mode, and trying to pivot and I mean, what are your thoughts on, when things start to ramp back up? Are you thinking you're going to be able to hit the ground running? Are you thinking it's going to be slow? How do you do that? When the green light comes back on, whenever that is, and maybe it's not a green light, maybe it's yellow and then green, I don't know. How is that going to work for you?
Well, Laurie, I've been running for 6 years, 6.5 years.
Yeah.
And so at some point you get a little tired, and when it's time to hit the ground running, it is my hope and desire that I still have the energy to do so. The energy, the money, the finances and whatnot, is kind of like, I feel like I'm talking about running track and hoping I have enough endorsements, but that's my hope and desire, is that when this is all said and done, that I have the energy, because, we're sitting here talking about how the business is doing, But
Yeah,
what
I
about how
know.
are you doing? How are you doing mentally, emotionally at home? How are you doing with your significant other? How are you doing with your kids? How are you doing with your coworkers, your colleagues? How are you doing when someone's around? And how are you doing when the lights are off, when you're in the bed and you're just not sleep? You have insomnia, you're thinking. So that's the whole thing right there. So yeah, the times will change. We can hit the ground running, but are you going to be able in a place mentally, physically, and emotionally and financially to keep going? And that's the unknown, is if that's going to happen that way. That's the unknown, not just for me, but for other people. So again, right now I'm just thinking about how does our business need to shift to keep going, and then what will it look like when it's all said and done? We were Malamiah Juice Bar before, and then when we moved, we were Malamiah Juice Bar and Eatery. We may have to go back to being just Malamiah Juice Bar and have no food. Prior to all this, we had visited a co-packer as well to kind of get our juices on the shelves and whatnot. So it may be like, doing that only. We don't know. So we just know that we got to keep going for now, because we are, one, inspiring others. Two, we are supporting a couple folk as employees who otherwise wouldn't have the funds to pay their bills at home.
Yeah. So thank you for saying that, because I didn't really know if I should ask that and be that raw right now, but I think probably that is really appropriate. What can we as a support community for entrepreneurs, and I want everybody to answer this too, because I didn't ask like, how are you doing personally, but since you shared that, I am going to ask everyone. How can we help you? What do you need? Anybody? Jermale?
I think for us, it's because we're all in different situations, but I think that for certain businesses that are not online or not e-commerce, or doesn't have a model that can survive in this type of situation, I think that it's very helpful for people to get together where we talk about how we can all help them, or what else they can do. What can they do to survive this time, and what are some ideas? How can they pivot? Because as entrepreneurs, sometimes when you're just at home alone, it's hard to come up with these ideas, and you need someone to talk with, to get more ideas, to oh, maybe this is something we can do, and maybe there's even partnership that can happen within entrepreneurs in the community.
Right. Oh, that's true. Very true.
Yeah, we were talking the other day about how there's always opportunity. Opportunity might, or the problems and solutions might be shifting and changing, but there's always opportunity. And we think that we were talking about we were trying to get into Start Garden's heads and say, like, if we were Start Garden, how could we help? Because it's a tough question. And we were just thinking, if everybody is shifting to ordering online, and some businesses aren't prepared to do that. So if we could kind of teach them a new model, or help them, build a website, a system that can get that going, then they can be back up and running. It's not that easy, but it's just one of the things we were brainstorming about. It's just bringing those people from offline to online.
Yeah, I mean, personally, my business is like the last thing I'm thinking about right now, because I'm so distracted by like, one, everything. Having 2 kids in my house, trying to get 30, like right now my husband has them, they like went to walk around for an hour, so that, because otherwise it's pure chaos. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and it's just pure chaos, and they don't know what's going on, and it's just not great. I'm very distracted just by, I feel like I have an hourly emotional like shift where like I'm like, okay, I feel good because I got something done, or the sun was out and I got something done for that hour. And the next hour I see like a bad piece of news, or I learn that my parents are still going into work and like I'm just like, I'm all over the place. So I think personally, I feel like there are people, like I'd love for Start Garden or something like that to promote, like I'd love to know, like maybe I need to buy some juice and have it shipped. Like how can I help people that are, you know, maintaining a lot more monthly costs and have a lot more financially tied up in their businesses that, and
Right.
emotionally, how can I start to like shift and do that instead of, you know, ordering something on Amazon or buying it all from Meijer or whatever. So I'd love to know those opportunities that I could help. I think everybody's trying to figure out what they can do to help in a small way.
Right.
But personally, I'm, you know, I feel like I'm completely not focused on what I can do for my business right now. I'm like,
Right.
It's like survival mode, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
And Laurie, let me say this too. This isn't anything to do with like mental well-being of entrepreneurs, although it's connected. And that is one of my thoughts, fears, just whatever that I think about from day to day at night or whatever is the fact that we are only a week and a half into this virus and the effects that it's having on our local community and state-wise. So we're a week and a half. I think people are still buying very well because people still got money. Some jobs are paying you for the week. Some people had a little bit in the savings, but my thought and fear is like, okay, what happens at week 4? If this goes to week 6 or week 8 or whatever that may be, there's going to be less and less money, you know, and some of us have luxury products. So I understand and recognize fully that, you know, getting a fresh pressed juice is luxury in a way. And, you know, at some point it's like, hey, you know, meat, potatoes, some quinoa, if that's your thing, or a $8 or $9 bottle of juice, or, you know, or whatever that is. And maybe others can speak on that with, you know, other dessert products that they may have and things like snacks and whatnot. But at some point in time, if nothing happens or takes place, I feel that the spending is going to change, and rightly so. So I'm not blaming anyone or whatever, but I'm just pointing out that fact. You know, it may be some more gardens might start popping up all of a sudden, you know, in backyards and things like that. But I just wanted to point that out that, you know, we're not that far into this. And so a lot of folk are still doing okay with their businesses and people are purchasing, but there's going to be a time where it's like pulling the plug out of the bathtub. The water's going to continue to recede, and you may not have enough water, or you may not have your water turned on still to keep it filled up.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a question come in.
Yeah, we've got a question from Eris. What kind of consumer habits do you think will come from this pandemic after the dust settles? Anything long-term or short-term? Will people still be scared to shop in person? Do you think more businesses will stay online?
I am worried personally, just in doing work for a company that is a plastics company, that single-use plastics are up. The use of them, and I wonder, like, I think about environmental impacts of that. Like, we were trending, you know, hopefully down in ways to recycle or use compostable plastic, but I think that that's going to stick around for a while until things have completely settled. So I think there's some environmental impacts for sure. I think with events, I think it's going to be a ramp back up period. Like, maybe people will be comfortable having events with 20 people, and then, but the larger ones, I think, may still take some time for things to feel like it's you know, good enough for that sort of a gathering.
Mm-hmm.
I think for us, so I see in January what was happening to China, and then slowly as they start, all the businesses start to open back up and what they're doing, and we wonder what the U.S. companies are going to do, because we work with a lot of grocery stores, right? So people are all ordering online right now because a lot of people are even scared to go to grocery stores even though that they're open. So what are the businesses are going to have to do to make sure people feel safe? And so maybe are we checking temperatures when you walk in? Are those some things that companies will have to implement? I don't know. Like, is that, you know, do you have to put up these security doors with temperature checking functions on them, like they did in China? you know, to make sure people feel safe out there interacting with others.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think there will be certain people, maybe certain generation that remembers this, and then there will be others that won't. So
Yeah, I think in terms of consumer habits that I think a lot, if people still have money, a lot of people are going to get into the habit of purchasing their things online. I don't think that they're going to stop going out, or I think it's if the businesses can convince people and actually put in measures that make people feel safe, and people will continue to go out, and they'll start going out probably sooner than later because they've been stuck at home for so long. But I do think that it will be very convenient for people to shop online after they've done it for, you know, especially people who have never done it, and then they start purchasing their groceries online, it gets delivered. They're going to see that that's so convenient. So I think that consumers will start shopping online more if they hopefully still have money after
And
all
like
of this.
a lot of people who haven't before have now learned how to. Like I think
Yeah.
about Zoom, and I'm like, how hard? I mean, it's now that now that my mom knows how to use Zoom, like what, you know, you've developed a habit, and then you realize, like my mom, for example, does not have email. She's like manages an office. They install custom closets, design and install custom closets. And she can't get never has had her email. She's worked there for 12 years, her email at home or on her phone. She goes to her office, she gets her desktop, she checks her email, and then she leaves for the day. And on the one hand, I'm like, what a luxury to just like leave your work and when you leave the door. But on the other hand, it's been an ordeal to get her set up to do anything from home. And I wonder, like, now that it's set up that way, can she start working from home more? Things that I think, and back to the environmental impact, I desperately hope that we will see that everyone being like traveling less and no cruise ships and like all this stuff will have some kind of like impact on air quality, which you're starting to see in China and Korea, that the air quality is better, and just different factors because there's not so many people, you know, moving about, and some factories have shut down. I do hope that we do keep some of that, in that, you know, do we need everybody commuting every single day to their office? Not really, not with all of these tools. Anyway, so some of parts of it I hope kind of stick around.
I'm thinking about this. Honestly, I'm like, so I might as well just say what I'm thinking, is whatever.
That's what we're here for.
People are going to be similar to after the presidential election, where it was like, who voted for 45? Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote? It's going to be like, wait, you still got the corona? You coughing? You got this? I think people are going to be like, looking kind of like,
that's so true.
You know, 3
Very
people per
skeptical.
elevator. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, skepticism.
Yeah, for sure. And just like, do we need to shake hands and hug so much? I don't know. Maybe there will be a period where that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Out of habit, fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, at a really high level, I think it's fascinating to watch how an entire world and an entire society has suddenly, like, abruptly changed our behavior in such a drastic way. And so obviously we're capable of doing that. We're forced to do that. But then what is the, you know, the long-term effect of that? How does, you know, I don't know. It's really interesting. And I don't see us, you know, I see our behavior changing. I see our habits changing. I don't know how that looks or what that does, but you know, I think people emotions right now are running so high. Like Laura, I can totally relate to you, and saying, you know, and just FYI, my husband has a business as well that's completely shut down.
Mhm.
It's a fly fishing guide service. We have a bed and breakfast. So we have it's not happening at all right now. And so I understand that emotion. I mean, I'm lucky that I'm still working, and but my mood swings, every minute, like you. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa. One
Yeah.
time I'm like, okay, we're Start Garden's trying to, we're trying to work, we're trying to keep going, and then in the next breath, it's like, wow, it's crazy. I don't want to turn on
Yeah.
the
It
TV. I don't want to.
requires so much shifting where you're like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
focusing on this. And then a new regulation will roll out, or you realize that like, oh, all these things we had planned for the future, we can't
Right.
do now. Like,
Right.
and so we have to just completely reorganize.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work around reorganizing. And we're all trying to like learn, especially with teams, like how to work best together when we all can get together, because I cumulatively probably like have like 3 hours of work time in a day that I can even do anything.
Right.
It's just, and the rest of it is after my kids go to bed. So it's
Right.
just, it's
Yep.
just
And-
really
And
struggle.
most of us have not experienced anything like this before. We're just, I mean, seriously, we're pretty much for the most part, we just, we're thinking ahead, we're planning ahead, we're running ahead. And life just keeps going on and on and on. And when it comes to a complete halt, it's shocking.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm looking at our time. We've got about 5 more minutes. I don't quite know how to wrap this up. I mean, I don't know what our, other than we're going to do this next week. So anybody that's listening, or any of the panelists here, we want to keep the conversation going, and who knows what next week's conversation could be. It could be more of this. But if anybody's got things that they want us to tackle, that would be great. Just let us know. But I guess maybe some final thoughts. What are we going to do next week? How do we? I mean,
Next week.
might sound. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, things are changing just so fast, but for us, so we have been kind of online from the start, and have been working at home. So in terms of like working from home, this hasn't changed much for us. But I think that if for those people who are shifting, that are good to use, or for communicating, or for tasks, for, I don't know, other things, and we're more than willing to share what we do to the people out there, to see if that would be helpful. Maybe there's certain tricks or certain things that we do that can help others to keep on track. And hi.
I just saw, Paul, your comment. I think what I appreciate is maybe the opportunity, and we all appreciate, is the opportunity to brainstorm. So, Murphy, I think you posted that too. If people have ideas, send them to me, Laurie at startgarden.com, and then, any ideas for, I mean, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there trying to figure out how to get through the rest of the day, and let alone, next week. So whatever we can do to help share that, I think would be
That's
great.
somebody picking up an order. I can't let this pay money. I'll be back.
Maybe
No,
let's
that's
say
awesome.
that maybe it's even like we can do a session like this, but where we have selected people that needs help in a certain area, and they can have like a time, say like 20 minutes is focused on this company with this issue, whether it's like how we pivot to the online, and then this next 20 minutes is everyone brainstorm on with this company, and how do we help them to get a word out in the community, or maybe work on the delivery, or I don't know what the need is. But maybe have a session where we all help one person into different time slots. That way we can bring all our brains together and see what we can do with our resources.
Yep. I like
Yeah,
it.
and also just as an aside, like sometimes when I'm scrolling through Facebook or whatever, I'll see a business that's like, hey, we're doing like just little local businesses that are doing curbside and things where I'm like, oh, that's an opportunity for me to get out of the house, support something local, not having to buy something from a large big box store. I just think the more we can all share those with each other, because we're all buying stuff right now because we need them to be in our houses, and the more I can, it's easy to not do it locally sometimes. And so I think if we all just keep like sharing and telling each other the things that we can do to support the small businesses that we love, then you know, I personally will be doing more of that. And I think it helps everybody else be reminded that, you know, you can still go pick up a loaf of bread from Field and Fire, and just different things like that I'd like to be aware of.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think that funding is one thing, but funding also just solves a short-term problem, because for entrepreneurs, if we need to pivot, we have to start planning and start thinking about our next steps.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. I don't know if Jermale came back, but if he didn't, that's good, because he's we're the customer, and that's awesome.
That's the best.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you to Laura, Brian, Kristine, Jermale, everybody that's tuned in. You know, we'll do this again next week. I like some of these ideas about brainstorming. The Start Garden team will kind of regroup and figure out what we're going to do with this next time around. And I truly look forward to being able to do this in person at some point. And this was actually, you know, this is exactly the kind of thing that we wanted the Juice to be in the first place. You know, we got new furniture on our stage. It was going to be everybody sitting on a couch, you know, drinking Bloody Marys and coffee and just having real conversations. So I know Jorge wanted to know where the Bloody Marys are. And I will tell you that I almost poured myself one, and I thought, you know what? People are going to think that poor woman is drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning all by herself. So I didn't. I didn't this morning, but maybe next week. I don't know. But
quarantine life does have me wanting a glass of wine at about 3 o'clock every day. I've learned.
I know. It keeps getting a little bit earlier.
To be honest, it's a little earlier.
It depends on when you go to sleep and wake up. Hours, whenever.
I don't think 3 o'clock is as late as you think it is.
I know, really.
Well, I thought you were going to say like noon.
I didn't say. I mean, that's when I actually will pour myself a glass of wine.
That's too funny. Too funny. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Aris just reminded me. Jermale, you make Bloody Mary mix.
Yeah, I've been trying to make it for the past like week and a half, but I keep getting busy doing some other stuff and making runs. So my hope, as I'm looking at the clock, is that between now and when my wife has to be on her Zoom call at home, that I could at least crank some out and do a little bit of a taste testing. It's for research only, Laura.
Oh yeah.
To make sure it's good. But yeah, that's my hope. I've been helping out Mario over at Luna. He's been selling his margarita mix. So he can't sell the margaritas to go, but he's been selling the mix. And so we've been helping him out with 16-ounce bottles. And so I just kind of need to take my own advice and get back to that. I'm also working on some, what do you call those drinks? Shrubs as well. As mix-ins. I mean, there's a whole lot of things in my arsenal that I do from time to time at home. I've even 2 weeks ago I even made a cocktail with some elderberry syrup. It was more of a ginger beer vodka elderberry syrup type deal, and it was off the chain. So I got ideas if you need them.
There you go.
That's great.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up, and I'm just going to say thanks again, and reach out to Start Garden, and we'll definitely be in touch. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks.
You guys.
Peace.
Bye.